What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna weave a few stories together, spin a tale here, maybe tell you a personal anecdote about a few things that people question about. One was semen retention, and it's interesting that I was gonna make a video on this anyways, and I just made another video that was related to this and depression, if this makes any sense, and I'll try to web this all together for you, because it always comes down to one essential thing, and it's energy, and how we form it, how we use it, where it goes, where it comes from, the center source of it. And whether, let's just get right to the question. It was, is semen retention beneficial? And the answer, as always, is multi-pronged, multifaceted. It's not so simple. I mean, it is very simple. The answer is very simple. I can always answer the questions in one sentence. They say if you don't know, and you can't, if you don't know something, it's going to take you a long time to explain it. But if you know it very well, you can explain it very simply. And I can explain all of this very simply. It's that the world is your imagination. That's there it is. We're done. But because people like to make things complex, we have to make these things complex. And then I take that complexity and I try to unwind that ball of yarn that people have, like cats playing with the string and getting it all wound up and tied up, and I try to untangle things for people and make it easy. And so this question of energy and retention of it, because that's what semen is. Semen is the physical format of what a seed is, or an implantation of a thought process. That thought process is shown to you, and its manifestation is the growth or the outpouring, just like a seed will create a tree. And these thoughts manifest something, and it all comes out of what energy is. Now, energy is really, and very simply, it's imagination. Imagination creates energy, and that's all there is to it. But as we try to break this down and say, okay, well, what do I want to do with this energy? Can I get more of it? How do I get more? Everybody wants more. They don't want better. They don't want more. They don't want faster, because they don't know what they're asking for. They think that more is better, because we live in a world where it's constantly thrown down upon us that the world needs more good people, more money, more of this, more of that. And no. That's just not the truth. But because I need to explain it in so many different ways, I'll try to. Because more is not better. Better is better. More potent is better. Faster is better. As I explained in my last video, we talked about, here, let me get in this little cove here, a little alley here, because I want a little space to myself. Okay. Better is better. In the last video, I was talking about speed kills in boxing. Well, why does speed kill in boxing? Because if you understand what speed is, and speed's, hold on one second, guys. Okay, so to understand what speed is, we have to understand what creation is, and creation happens instantaneously, but because we're in a denser format, we think of time as how long it takes to get somewhere. Getting from point A to B is simple if it's in a straight line, but if there's mountains, it takes longer, and those mountains are the peaks and valleys, or the sine waves of what we call time. But if you get outside of time and you're on the tightrope in the center of things, then time doesn't exist. But that's where all things are created from and manifest from. And here's how this connects to semen retention and energy. Yes, and I'm going to tell you a story. And this happens to me quite often, because I've practiced this art of building up energy, building up. Some of it is frustration, some of it is desire, some of it is it's always because there's something that's wanted, meaning that I don't have something. And so in that there is like, what do you have when you build up a seminal retention? All you're doing is frustrating yourself sexually. I mean, that's truly all that it is. And I can give you this prime example. And this is actually very current. I had not got laid for a couple, for me, it was a long time. I don't know how long it was, but it's longer than I would normally go without, and I didn't masturbate either. So there was a buildup of tension and anxiety and energy as well. But as soon as I got laid, as soon as I just said, let me get out of my depressed state, because this has to do with depression as well, went and easily got laid, because that was, that's just what I am, a sexual creature by nature. I participate in the bounty of the sinful devil plane, this world of tension and relaxation, of delight that goes in the up and down and around motion of the way that you acquire and release energy and go through these pulsations of life and light. And it's a recreation, just like light is recreation of itself. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't move, there's no speed to light. If you get into Walter Russell's work, he shows you very plainly that light just reproduces itself, because that's all that can happen. It's just a reproduction of what was already originally there, which gets into what the flower of life is. So after I got laid, everything else became much easier. After I released the energy that was within me, stored up. So what did I do? Did I need to do that? Well, no, but I'd spent energy, this gets back into the, I did a video, and maybe I'll release it right after this or pretty soon, but I did it on getting rid of or alleviating what people would consider depression, and what deep rest is, and how to just relax, and what that space is when someone is tired. And it's to acquire energy is sometimes just take a nap. If you go to the gym and work out and you get real big, that's great, but you spent your energy on getting bigger. But then afterwards, what did you have? You had no energy, so you needed to take a nap, and you became deep rest. You were depressed because you went into a restful state. You took a nap to rebuild what you had destroyed. So, this goes into creation and Shiva and Shakti and all of these great teachings. But nonetheless, what we're talking about here is how to see energy differently, and to think of what semen is and the retention of it as it's not needed. We'll make it simple. It's not needed. You can do it. And there's reasons to do it, and we'll try to explore those. Hey, I gotta jump on this little streetcar, so we'll go a little farther in a second. Hold on, guys. Okay, let's continue on with this. So, it's the difference between building up energy and it's always for what purpose, and the ability to move like water, to be able to be as free as air, and considering the elemental functions and what they do. And air doesn't build up energy, neither does water. It doesn't choose to. Like, you can, if you dam something up, that force can be equally as destructive as it can be, I guess, creative. And oxygen or air, like, where does the movement of that even come from? Is it even a larger, and that gets into, understanding what spirit is and saying, I don't know where that came from. How did that occur? Like, you can kind of point to and see where, what Earth looks like and how that was created. You can mold something out of clay and you can dam up water and then watch it, build up the energy because there's weight to it. There's actual density to it. But when you look at ether or oxygen, there's not much weight or density to it. So you always are at a loss for where did that initial creative force come from. And so in the same way, we can see that the energy that is built up within what we'd call semen, or the creative architecting force, always what's behind that is the mind. And so whether or not you've built up a bunch of energy doesn't mean it's going to go to any good use. You could look at it in the same way of, build up a bunch of energy, hold your semen in, right? So be it. And we're getting into Montauk Chia and all of his practices, because there's a lot of use and benefit to it. But like, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to build it up to create a strong baby? This is the thing. What are you going to do with that? Is the baby going to be superhuman? Because what other purpose would you have to hold semen? If the purpose of, let me try this very directly and simply and plainly. If the purpose of semen as a physical object is to create another physical object, because that's what it is, if I can hold my semen to create a baby, then that's what its purpose is. But to think that I can hold my semen and somehow make my experience or my mind greater is profoundly sophomoric and misguided, because I'm talking to you right now in a more precise, linear, purposeful way, after having released my seed, a physical seed, and having joy, having done that, to be more articulate now, to explain something and be more creative now, and to be more magical at this point than prior to that. So what was the purpose? What was the purpose of it? I mean, and to get further, I've practiced non-spilling of the seed, to think that I could build up energy to do something, and I don't know that I got anything more out of it than just by really wanting to do something. Just the actual desire that's underneath it is more than enough force. That's all you really need. There's nothing that you need to stop yourself from doing. And to go a little farther, there are plenty of times that because I practice Tantra, like to during intercourse, having relations, making love to a woman, that, 4 minutes is ridiculous. Like, who's doing that? Who's 3 pumps in and just like done? So like, to have a half an hour love making experience, or an hour, like, that's where it probably seems to be more appropriate for the parties involved. So and at the end, sometimes I don't ejaculate. I don't get rid of my seed, but the experience was what it was. There didn't have to be a climax. Not all experiences have a climax. Just as much as you can say, like, if we look into nature, and if If the bee isn't pollinating and making a new flower, what was the purpose? If an animal has intercourse with another animal, it's for one. They're trying to create the next generation. But in the physical, like as humans, as creators, like the creation, it's not about the, what do they tell you? It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And so the destination to create magic through the use of withholding energy and semen it's not. I'm not saying not to do it, because there's use of it. There's use to holding some energy, but to do it to the point of like thinking. Let me try to explain to you this way. To think that that's going to give you the answer for what you want, it's not. It's going to give you more power to a degree, but once again, you could build up that power all you want, but if I'm quicker to know what I desire and I ask for it, like that's speed kills, right? I don't know how many times I've seen or witnessed or participated in or been, on the opposite end of people going out and like, hey, you wanna hook up, you wanna get that beautiful lady, you wanna buy that thing at the store, right? You wanna buy that thing at the store. Doesn't matter what it is. You wanna acquire something by exchanging of energy. If you're not the first one to exchange the energy, then you won't get what you want. I've watched people lose at things, lose at acquiring something they wanted because somebody bought it first. I've watched guys that could have gotten the girl, and girls could have gotten the guy, that because they didn't speak up first, didn't get it. They weren't fast enough. They didn't need more energy. They didn't need more power. So think of it that way. Like, how much power do you need to have? You don't. You just need to have ambition. You just need to have desire. That's all. Yeah, there's some use for it. I'm not discrediting the usefulness of creating and generating power and finding some energy. And there's plenty of use for fasting, just like there's plenty of use for feasting. Just realize there's a balance to these things, and I'll go a little further on this at a later time. And hopefully this served you all well.